Hey, how you guys doing? This is KLA, Clyde the Wanderer, and I'm here with Asif. He's a publisher of Anarachi Comics. I said that right,
No,
Anaracha?
it's Arachna, and it's
Arachna, okay.
X53 Studios is the publishing house. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How you get the name Arachna?
Uh, just did a lot of different. She was called a lot of different names beforehand. I settled on Arachna. A, it wasn't taken. B, it just had a good ring to it, and just went from there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I stumbled across the illustrations
Mhm.
to your publication and stuff, and I was like, okay, wow, this is interesting. Yeah. So like the main character is it's a Ratna.
Yeah,
Okay. Maybe
yeah,
maybe I could.
yeah. She's
She's
got a
not. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
Sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
Yeah, she's got a split personality, and kind of the origin of that character is that I was a big fan of the Steve Ditko Stan Lee Spider-Mans, and if you ever read the older ones, Peter Parker was like a really pretty big nerd and very very socially awkward. A lot different than what they're portraying him as now.
Right.
And then Spider-Man was a very very kind of alpha male, and that's where I got the idea of doing a split personality for somebody where you have the superhero persona, which is Arachna, and she's very alpha, and then you have the Janus part, which is kind of like the Peter Parker part, where she's very awkward, shy. And I talked to my cousin's a psychiatrist, so we talked about split personalities and how they work, and just yeah, I thought it'd be very interesting to create a character like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever read like the old ones, like in the '60s or anything like that. Maybe I've seen like some of the illustrations to it. But nah, I kind of very rare. I'll read a Spider-Man comic. You'll tell you the
Yeah.
truth. Yeah,
Well, I don't read comics much because I just don't like them anymore. Personally, I just don't feel like um, there's a lot of good work being produced. So, I mean, this the part of the reason why I started this company was that I wasn't happy with what was being made by the corporate, what I call corporate comics, and you could sit there and complain about it, or you can kind of start your own thing. So decided to start my own thing, and so far so good. I mean, we're in year 4 at this point, and it's going well. Built out a whole universe of characters now. There's 4 books we're publishing. So we have Arachna, Ghost Hawk Falconet, um, Vindicators, which is a Western, and then also the Omada, which we're working on right now, which is our first team book. And that's kind of more influenced by anything from Uncanny X-Men by Byrne and Claremont to Teen Titans by Perez and Wolfman. A lot of my love for comics comes from, I would say, the 90s and prior.
mm,
So 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s. I started reading comics back in the late 70s. Really got into them in the 80s. Kind of lost interest in the 90s and then kind of came back in the 90s, but then seemed to have lost interest altogether in them in, I think, the 2000s. And, that's when I decided to start my own thing, and see, if we can kind of um, catch some of that vibe from those older comics from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So that's
yeah.
what we're trying to do with our books. With
Okay.
it, they are, I would say, they are adult themed. They're not for kids, but comic audience in general is not for kids anymore. So usually, I think it's the older demographic, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So that seems to be more the demographic now for comics.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. I was like, certain things I wasn't sure to post, but because you know how YouTube is, so But it kind of this like that panel where she's tied up. It kind of
Yeah,
reminds me of Wonder Woman from like in the early days, like
yeah,
in the 40s or something like that.
yeah. Well,
They
you know,
made her
her
vulnerable.
creator was into bondage and those type of things. So
Yeah,
when Wonder Woman back in the 40s, it was always where she was like tied up or something like that. Um, and then once kind of DC took it over, I mean, it's not, to me, a lot of these things aren't even readable at this point. So I just don't find them interesting. I don't find there was a time where the creators were very interesting. I don't find the creators really interesting anymore. I don't find the fact that they got to take political stances on stuff interesting. I just want them to shut up and produce good comics, and I don't think that's not their motive at this point. I think it's more about whatever their ideology is and try to spread more of that stuff. So I don't care, and I just like just want to. I love the medium of comics, and I just want to make good comics. And I went to art school, and one of the things I don't felt they taught you, they teach you technique. Meaning, if you want to paint, you can learn how to become a better painter, the technique of it. But what they don't tell you is what's in here. You gotta, as a true artist, what's in here, you gotta get out into your work. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Take the influences I have, take the interests I have, and then put them into the work that we're producing. And that's what we're trying to do here.
you know. If I can ask, like, what makes your stories different from the other comic books
Well,
publishers?
so Marty, who's a writer, and I spend a lot of time on. To me, the biggest thing is the writing, the plot, and the writing, and we spend a lot of time on that. And what what kind of makes us different from, let's say, mainstream comics or corporate comics is that we don't have check boxes that we're trying to check. Let's say, all right, we got this, we got this, we got this. You're trying to tell a story. You want to create interesting characters, characters that are not perfect. That's a big deal with me. I find perfect characters very boring, and you want to have faults in the characters. You want to have uh, uh, they got to have a lot of different things wrong with them. Same thing with, like, when we're doing Arachna, when we're doing Ghost Falconet, this team book we're doing, Vindicators. There's a lot of weird things you'll see about these characters as you're reading them. But to me, I think that makes characters more interesting when you do have these faults. I feel like I'm drawn more to anti-heroes than I am to just kind of heroes. If one of my favorite shows, or two of my favorite shows, are Breaking Bad and Sopranos. Now, if you
Mm,
look at those the heroes in those shows, which is Walter White and Tony Soprano, those aren't good guys by any means, but you find yourself rooting for them, and that's what makes it interesting. So I think that to me is have great characters, tell great stories. The other thing I'll tell you is we're not published once a month. We're published once a year. So you see
oh,
Arachna 1, you're not going to see Arachna 2 for another year. So the stories have to be self-contained. They can't be, we'll pick it up, we'll pick the story up next month, or people are going to forget what's going on. So it has to be a self-contained book. At the same time, you have to kind of give it some sort of breadcrumb where people come back and they can pick up on the book right away. But it's a different story, and again, it's going to be self-contained. So our books are between, Arachna 1 was 48 pages, Arachna 2 ended up being 68 pages, and then Arachna 3 is 56 pages. So
yeah.
they're pretty long books. Um, this picture you're showing, I like that movie. Well, one of my favorite Bond movies is Goldfinger.
Okay.
There's a scene in Goldfinger where Bond goes, he's tied up to the table and he he says, "You want me to talk, Goldfinger?" And Goldfinger goes, "No, I expect you to die." And then he turns on this laser. So this kind of stuff is to me is always fun. I was also a big fan of the show Batman with Adam West as a kid,
Yeah.
and you know how it ended up in some sort of cliffhanger.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the
That was
first
the
book.
good part about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd have to like come back and watch that. So I like the cliffhanger aspect of comics. I also I mean cliffhangers. Raiders of the Lost Ark was kind of based on cliffhangers that George Lucas and Spielberg liked back in the the serials that they used to watch. So cliffhangers, peril, that's always a big part of reading comics, and that's why I'm always going to put those in there. So yeah, it's just it's fun. And again, I don't think comics can do that right now currently because they're corporate owned entities and they can't take chances anymore. So
Yeah. So for another issue, you just wait for a year. Like wow.
yeah,
Like how do you attract more readers though? Like that are they really devoted to it?
yeah. Our fans are pretty devoted to the books. Now, unfortunately, you have a YouTube channel right now. I don't. It's a lot of work to create a YouTube channel, as you know,
Yeah.
and I have a full time job. Then I'm also doing this, and it it's pretty. I wish I'm trying to figure out a way of doing a YouTube channel uh, that we can get people more interested in it, get people to look forward to stuff coming up. But I haven't figured out how to do a YouTube channel on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
We do have an actress that plays Arachna, and those videos are very popular, but it just can't do enough of them. I need to do something. If we like, I feel like if you commit to a channel, you need to have consistent content, at least one or two streams a week, um, for it to start picking up people. But to get back to your original question, yeah, it's a dedicated group of fans we have. Now we were doing Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Yeah.
Indiegogo, for some reason, decided to start shadow banning our campaigns, and they've been doing that to a lot of people. And we decided we weren't going to do Indiegogo anymore because it's a lot of work to create a campaign, and then if you're not even going to tell us why you're shadow banning us, I don't need to be on that platform anymore. So we lost a lot of people by going Kickstarter exclusive. And where we are right now is we're building up the Kickstarter um, um, audience at this point. But I think if you create good content, right, good stories, good artwork, we don't cheap out on anything. Our books are published very high quality, and if you keep doing that, you'll keep building up that customer base. So yeah, they're fine waiting for it. I just need to figure out how to do something that kind of keeps their attention throughout the year. It's not just one book we're publishing though. We're publishing 4 books a year now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's one every quarter. So um, time goes by pretty quick too. So you don't have to. I mean, a year goes by pretty quick. But yeah, I'm trying to create content where you can get um, still have interest in the characters and keep building up new characters. But I'm telling you, man, it's tough. Like if you try to hire actresses, they're very flaky. It's extremely difficult to find the right people who are dedicated. And I'm not going to do it until I find people that are dedicated. So we'll see. if we can kind of build up a YouTube channel in kind of as a long-term goal, not as a short-term goal.
When you say the actress, like are you planning to do like a little short film?
Yeah. One thing we want to do is a short film with the campaigns if we hit a certain level. Now, films aren't cheap to make,
Yeah,
so you have to have a very high goal set for that for that kind of stretch goal. So in the meantime, what I'd like to do is get an actress. We have an actress, but she's moved to California, so it's very difficult to kind of work
yeah,
with her on these things. I'd prefer.
right.
I'm on the East Coast, so I'd prefer to
I think
have.
it's this one right here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yep. And like to get somebody who is local that we can start creating either short videos or short films. But I'm telling you, it's extremely difficult to find actresses. Uh,
Yeah,
just I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're looking for like trying to just work on Netflix stuff or whatever. But it used to be a lot easier to try to find actresses like pre-pandemic. Very very difficult now.
yeah. What was it like coming up with the characters and just like creating this universe during the pandemic?
Well, the first one, Arachna, what I did was I saved up money over a few years to get started on this Arachna character, and had a lot of had some missteps. Uh, Artists signing up and backing out, wasting a lot of money on that type of stuff. Um, so luckily, we got a team now that's steady, that's very dedicated to these books, and it's regarding creating characters. It's basically what you were influenced by and what you can put in yourself. Um, Something like a Quentin Tarantino, who is when you see his movies, you definitely see influences on the work. Like for Kill Bill, for example, you saw Game of Death, which is that Bruce Lee movie. You see so many different influences in his movies, but then he brings his own thing too, so it becomes this new thing, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is just like if you see Ghost Hawk Falconet, you'll see
Yeah,
Hawk and Dove in there. You'll see a lot of different things in there. Um, and then Vindicators. I was very interested in shows like The Avengers, which was this British spy show, along with Wild Wild West, which was this another show that it was a western, but it had steampunk elements in that western,
yeah.
which
Will
is
Smith
pretty.
did a remake to that
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
Wasn't too
So
good. I heard.
no,
I
that
didn't
was
ever
pretty
seen it,
awful.
but yeah,
I'll tell you how you fail is where people of the show won't go see the movie. That's
yeah,
when you failed at that. Avengers was a horrible movie too because that came out in the early '90s
yeah, yeah.
with
I
Dave
remember
White,
that.
yeah, and Uma Thurman,
Right.
and it was made by people who had no idea what made the show special, and
Right.
and it was just crap, and yeah, you mess that up, and then you're not gonna get a second chance at it. But yeah, there's Vindicators, definitely a lot of stuff in there, from Wild Wild West, The Avengers, and then Omada, which is a team book. A lot of stuff from, as I mentioned, X-Men, a lot of stuff from Teen Titans, Legion of Superheroes, with when Keith Giffen was doing them. So there's a lot of things in there uh, that that like team dynamics, that kind of stuff that I found interesting. I want to kind of put in this book, and yeah, I mean, you'll see stuff from Shaft. I was a big fan of Shaft as well. You'll see things from so many different, like, basically, I was like a big pop culture nerd growing up, and I used
Mm,
to watch everything, and I used to read everything. So you'll just see a little bit of all that stuff in these things.
yeah. And we got somebody in the comments. All the rage, George Page. Happy holidays, folks. Just swing by to drop a like. Yeah, thank you, George. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So why don't you like take us like who's who in this universe? I know you introduced me to Arachna and the Falcon Girl. Well, I know this Bombshell.
Yep.
I
You got
forgot
Dozer
the
played
other.
up in the front there, and then in the orange is Rewind, and that was actually created by my son. That character in the
Mm,
back there is Elementia, who
okay.
controls elements: earth, air, wind, water. On behind her, it's Skullcap. He can turn invisible,
Mm,
but there's a secret that he's got. We've got ASAP on the left hand side. She's a speedster, and then we got Mimic in front of her, and she is a changeling, so she can change. But she changes by making eye contact with you, and then she can
okay.
assume your form. But in addition to assuming your form, she also inherits your memories. So
Okay.
she knows how you think. She knows, what your what everything about you is, and that kind of leaves her a little bit damaged because I think if you get everything inside your head into another person, that's going to mess them up a little bit. So
Mm,
that's her thing. So Dozer Blade, he's kind of like the guy who wrecks stuff. Um, a lot of him is based on, I would say, a little bit on Richard Roundtree.
okay.
I really liked Shaft. That was and Superfly and those '70s films. Bombshell is more of a kind of like a Wonder Woman slash Shazam type character,
Okay.
where you Miracle Man also a big fan of Miracle Man by Alan Moore. So
Mm,
there's a lot of that in there. So yeah,
yeah.
a little bit of everything on these things.
Yeah. So
But the art,
the
I
both
guess how do you
those.
like the art?
Huh?
You this is a splash page in the book,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean it's really important that the art, colors, script, everything just like pop, and I think we do a good job in those type of things.
Yeah. I like the illustration. Like who did the illustrations
This one is
to
Val
this?
Jr. Arachna is Carlos Granda, and
Okay.
Vindicators and Ghost Hawk Falcon Net is Daniel Pasquale.
Okay. Now the bulldozer, what he's like what a cyborg what is he like
Uh, Dozer Blade,
like an
Dozer
Iron
Blade is
Man?
no,
Oh,
not he absorbs energy, and then he kind of hits you back with all that when he absorbs it.
oh,
So
oh,
you can
okay.
punch him like 100 times, and he'll take all that kinetic energy and then turn it around on you and hit you
Oh,
the same way.
oh,
So he basically he likes to get punched and beat, and then what he does is once all that energy is absorbed, he lets you have it. So that's
mm,
his power.
mm. Cool. And so you I remember you mentioned about this couple like they were like a hawk and dove.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Ghost Hawk Falconet. So the character I wanted to have I want to have a married couple
Oh, okay.
in our universe, and show how the dynamics of being a married couple work with crime fighting and the things that they have to do. And they've been married enough where they're kind of getting bored of each other in real life, and but the superheroics that's like exciting, and it's kind of like it gets the adrenaline up and stuff. I also made this so Batman Robin also was like the '60s Batman Robin was something I was like I didn't want everything to be grim, so with this book we're uh, a little bit more comedy in this book.
Okay.
and not as grim. I would say. I don't think any of our books are overly. I don't really like too much grimness in books, but there's a factor that you have to have high stakes where you can, you can die, or you can, you're not coming back from death in our book. So once you're dead, you're dead. But definitely the marriage factor was interesting to me, in terms of how they work together.
No, okay. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't. I never really see. Well, I know like Sue Richards and Richard Reeves. They're like a marriage couple. A superhero marriage
Yeah, I
couple.
don't. Reading them, I never felt like their uh, their marriage life was ever like explored.
Yeah.
It always seems to be like the same thing. I know time works different in comics, but like there's the thing in a marriage. I think after the initial attraction wears off, is that you have to be learn to live with one another in that scenario. And I don't think that's been really explored in that Reed Richards Sue Storm kind of economy. So
Mhm. Yeah, but then again, yeah, you have the thing, and what's his name, Johnny Storm,
yeah,
and so it complicates things. I know before they had a kid, I think he was a mutant, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Franklin Richards was a mutant, and um, yeah, I just every writer's going to handle their things differently, and I just marriage wise, I don't like. You just felt like they were like a family,
Yeah,
but like you didn't really explore like if Reed is like always working and stuff, what kind of effect does that have on Susan Storm or something, over a longer period of time? Like if he's never there, then how's she feeling, or what's she gonna do? I mean, the interesting thing was that they kind of try to explore like the Namor and Sue Storm thing, because I think she was like Reed was ignoring her too much, but I don't think they got too much to Grant Morrison. I think tried to do that in like that mini series 1, 2, 3, 4, but I don't think they really explored it much.
yeah, yeah. But what are they? Their superpowers just they can fly.
No, so it's more of kind of like he's an engineer.
Oh, okay,
And he got super rich, and he can create these wings, and he can create these outfits. So they don't have any superpowers. They have technology, so
okay.
they can do a lot of things with technology. So they have like these wings and suits and these type of things. But basically they're I would say very kind of well trained athletes,
Hmm. Okay.
but not
Yeah.
no superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you been to like comic book conventions, like promoting it? Yeah.
No, never been to a comic book convention. I was thinking of doing a four next year. The problem with these comic conventions are that you gotta like apply like super early to
Yeah.
get there, and again, I kind of like I'll tell you my schedule. Like I have a day job from 8 to 6, right?
Yeah.
Then I work on this from like 7 to 2 a.m. and and then the weekends I'll work on this as well. So right now we're finishing up shipping the Arachna 3 books for Kickstarter. Um, so it doesn't leave a lot of time, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna we've uh, kind of selected 4 conventions we want to do next year, and uh, New York is one, Philly is another one, and then I want to do a couple of other local ones. Um, but yeah, definitely want to do. But with that, again, I would prefer to have actresses and actors that are dressed up as our heroes at the booths, and then it kind of just goes back to again on like trying to find these people, which is very very difficult, extremely
You
difficult.
know, months ago, I interviewed a young lady. She's she's an actress, and she was like in this superhero flick, Supergirl,
Mhm.
Supergirl Titans, and it's like it took place in London,
Mhm.
and I forgot what the main story is, but she was an actress. She's an actress, not was, but she's an actress, and she was telling me how how her and the director met and kind of made this movie and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, it's. I mean, unless you, I don't know, man. Like I've been having a real hard time because they either don't even show up to interviews, which are Zoom interviews,
yeah,
and the last thing I would do is like rent a place, hire a crew, and then have the actress not show up for these type of things. So I just get this feeling that they're not really that committed to a role. So I try to stay. I mean, you listen, you live and you learn. So there was a lot of bad, people that weren't that they commit to something then they don't show up, and
yeah.
I think that's the norm. But you got to try to find those like diamonds in the rough. Unfortunately, we had a very good Arachna. She just moved to California. Like she moved to California, so that's difficult. But I want to try to get people who are committed and are they just be professional. I would say.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about like doing like an animation, like
I've contacted animators. It's very pricey at this point, so I don't want to do
uh,
it yet. So we'll see. I think right now my main goal is to get more and more people interested in this universe and in these books, and because I know if you read it once, you're gonna want to come back more to them,
yeah,
and
I,
just creating interesting characters, interesting books, and just art wise, like when you look at this art, like it's pretty fantastic. I would put our books up against any books from any publisher,
yeah.
and I think they uh, uh, will be very good comparatively with them.
Yeah, this reminds me of Craven the Hunter.
Yeah, this was our character called Jasar, who. So there's I don't know if you into movies or not. There's a movie called The Most Dangerous Game, and it's about a hunter who gets tired of hunting animals and wants to
Mm,
hunt human beings. In this guy's case, he gets tired of hunting human beings and he wants to hunt superheroes. And he gets Arachna onto his island, and we go from there.
mm. No, I don't think I've never heard about that. I
The most dangerous
remember your most dangerous game. I could check it out. Years ago, I remember I seen a movie with Ice T, and he it started. He wanted to commit suicide, and so this guy he intervened, and then he like was kind of giving him a proposition
game.
to like a job or a second chance or something like that. And so he took him to an island where these guys was hunting, but they
Yeah,
it turned out they was hunting him, and so he had to like find ways to like take them down and stuff. And eventually he did in the movie. But
yeah,
yeah, that was like the the movie that I can recall about hunting
yeah. I
people.
think if you look at all these movies like Hard Target with Van Damme
Yeah, that
and all
one
of
too.
these
Yeah,
movies,
yeah, that
they
one.
can all be traced back to this movie. This was made in the 1930s, and I
Oh,
believe the guy who directed King Kong directed this. I'm not sure, but yeah, this the most dangerous game was back in the 30s, and I think they used some sets from King Kong to make that film also. But yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. It's a very old film, and it has a theme of hunting humans rather than animals.
Yeah, I definitely gonna check it out. Yeah, all the way to okay, Connor Clausen, Tony Stark, Pepper Potts, with Reed and Sue Richards. Yeah, he's talking about
Yeah,
the
yeah, you're gonna see a lot of like again, like there's things that influence you, and you wanna just you're gonna take whatever you like and then put it out with your own thoughts and experiences and put it out into these things.
yeah you actually I remember like these cards like from Marvel Comics.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
That took me back a little bit with that. The strength, the speed, the agility,
yeah.
stamina.
That's actually like I like those cards a lot,
Yeah,
and I always thought it was kind of cool that they have these power ratings on them, and that's where all that's coming from.
yeah, yeah. So, let me see. Ice T did the same type of movie with Rutger Hauer. Okay. So, like, how many people that's like work with you?
So we got Carlos Granda who does the art.
Yeah.
He does the inks also. We have a colorist, Javi Lapera. We have an editor, and then we have a letterer. And the lettering is done by a studio. And then for Ghost Falconet and Vindicators, we have Daniel Pasquale as the artist. The writer on all the books are Marty. It's hard to pronounce it. Marty Kopinen,
Hmm.
and um, uh, and on Omada, it's Val Jr. doing the artwork on that. Same coloring team, same lettering team, and then same editor and same writer on those books. Artists are just different on the books.
Okay. Okay.
We
What?
also did a swimsuit issue as well, so
Okay.
that was
What?
also like an homage to the swimsuits of the those Marvel swimsuit issues that used to be published back in the 90s.
Oh, you did a swimsuit.
Yeah, swimsuit issue. Yeah,
Uh, oh, hold on. I think I seen something like that. Yeah. Well, not exactly, but I think I seen it like on your Instagram.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a nice illustration.
yeah. This is Carlos. So he does. If you see some of the stuff that he does in terms of detail,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. So like he'll do cityscapes, and he'll draw like every window in there.
Mm.
And since she's kind of like she shoots webs and stuff, you'll see a lot of webbings and things like that. He just takes a long time. I call him kind of like the George Perez in terms of detail. He puts in a lot of
Okay.
detail,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's pretty cool to. Now the jungle one, which was the second one, we go back into the cityscape again in the third one. I like what he does with concrete and buildings and light and all this stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a good, nice illustration. Like, how do you recruit people that would wanna, you know, may wanna join your company or anything like that?
So the first thing is you got to look at the portfolio and see, obviously, if it's good or not.
Okay.
Second thing is that I don't want any kind of ideology. So if you're left or if you're right, I don't really care what ideology you are, but I can't have that in the work. Like it, we are a we don't discuss politics. We don't talk about politics, and you'll never see anything that's even remotely related to politics in our books or in our social media, any of that stuff. Um, I just don't understand why you would do that, because I think whatever you do, whatever stance you take, you're gonna cut the audience in half, right? So if you're left, you're gonna cut the right. If you're right, you're gonna cut the left. So I don't really care about your political stance, but in terms of the books themselves, can't have these type of these type of ideologies. So that's really important. There was an artist I hired, and he had a specific type of ideology, and there's a mistake I made by not asking these type of things, and then I had to, from moving forward, I just go like, I don't care what your ideology is, but you're not going to put it into books or anything like that. No, we just want to create, comics are escapism, and you're trying to create these worlds where people have problems, people have issues that they deal with, and you want to kind of, when you read comics, you want to get away from all that stuff. And that's what our books are. So that's important. And then number 3 is just are you dedicated in terms of speed? I think with crowdfunding, it's difficult to say, all right, we're going to do 20 pages a month or something like that. It's not possible. I think it's more quality, but then at the same time, you do have to hit these deadlines. We were very, very off with Arachna 3, and I don't want to have that happen again. So I try to get people to do around 10 pages a month. And then based on those deadlines, I set a delivery date for the campaigns on Kickstarter. So that's what we try to do. But just the work has to be good. We're not afraid to show skin. We're not afraid to show, sexy, all this stuff. I think our tagline is bringing the adventure, sexy, and peril back to comics. So if you got a problem with that, then don't apply here. Some of the artists are thankful that we do have this philosophy, and they say, they've said to me that publishers want them to tone down the sexual aspects of the art.
Yeah.
Meaning, if they're drawing an ass, you can't draw like a round ass. You have to make it flat so it doesn't look like it. It's just, to me, it's just weird, man, because it's like you're trying to essentially what these characters are. I would consider them like Olympic athletes, right? So they have to have very good physiques. Why you'd want to tone that down, I don't know, but it's all this bullshit that's going on right now in the world and stuff. But I think it's starting to die down or whatever. But our books are like, you're going to get sexy people and you're going to get good looking people, and we're not afraid of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, it's different. I mean, tell you the truth, I know, I see like they're doing a lot of gender reversing, and then they sometimes they'll do like not just gender reversing but race reversing. It's a lot of stuff in comics. Like, even like I tune in like certain YouTubers, and they talk about why like Disney and Marvel, like they failed like with the MCU and all that stuff. They putting like a lot of politics into it, and just this recently about the Captain America, the new one with Anthony Mackie. They said they have to reshoot it because some things is not good, and really
I think where they went wrong with this stuff is besides getting all like trying to virtue signal or trying to get like political ideologies in these things, is they got people who don't care about the characters making movies about the characters. And if you look at stuff prior to Endgame, you have the Russo brothers who liked the comics growing up, who read the comics growing up. You had Jon Favreau, who did Iron Man, who loved the character growing up. There was a fondness of the characters, but they wanted to do justice to the characters by bringing them to screen. And then it just got lost. Where I remember I was looking forward to the She-Hulk show, because She-Hulk was one of my favorite characters growing up, the John Byrne run. and the showrunner is talking about how she's never even read the books and she doesn't like the character, and they're
Yeah.
gonna do whatever they want to do. And I'm like, why? First of all, why are you working on this? A, B, Disney. Why are you hiring people like this? Because they're women. Really, there's plenty of women that like the character, that would do justice to the character. But to get people who don't even respect the characters to make films or TV shows about the character, then you're gonna get what you deserve, and that's what they're getting right now. Is I'm not
Yeah.
interested in anything Marvel's making now. I thought, uh, to me, my interest with Marvel ended with Endgame, and up until then, I was pinching myself looking at these movies and how accurate some of these characters are. Iron Man, seen that for the first time. Before, I don't know how old you are, but Marvel, when they made the TV shows, uh, people who were making those shows, like Spider-Man and Hulk and those shows, they always thought they knew better. Like, oh, well, this is kind of like a shitty character and I can make it better or whatever. And when you start, and they change costumes, they change looks, they change
Yeah.
appearances, all, and you end up with these shitty movies or shitty shows that Marvel was producing up until Iron Man. Or sorry, up until Spider-Man. Spider-Man was Sam Raimi loved that character, and the first time I saw a PR shot of Spider-Man, I thought it was an illustration, and the comic, the costume was comic accurate. I thought they did a fantastic job with the character. Tobey Maguire did a fantastic job with a plain Peter Parker Spider-Man, but there was this love of the material you're producing, and you want to do it justice. Then Iron Man came along, and Iron Man was very comic accurate. Like the armor was very comic accurate to the books, and then we just kind of went on from there. But what's happened after Endgame is that they've gotten these people who aren't really good writers, more activists, writing these type of things and directing these type of things, and it just shows in the work itself. It's awful, and I feel bad for actors like Anthony Mackie, who are very good actors, who are probably stuck with shit material and shit scripts, and uh, it's a waste of their talent when they're working on this kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, to me, uh, I don't think they can turn this around. I know Deadpool Wolverine I liked a lot,
I
but
didn't like it.
you didn't like it. I liked it, but
you
that
you
was
know, not to cut you off. You know why I didn't like it too much? Because it was like, because I seen like the clips on YouTube and stuff, and with the Gambit, it kind of attracted me to want to go see it. But then when I sat down in the theater, I was like, I wasn't moved by it. I just looked at it. It wasn't a bad concept, but it was like certain things. It just kind of, I don't know. Like they're thinking about making future movies about them, but to each his own.
yeah. I mean, it was a lot better than I didn't even see the Marvels. I had no interest in seeing the Marvels, or
Yeah,
I thought Shang-Chi was awful. I thought the last Doctor Strange, even though it was directed by
yeah, it
Sam,
was terrible. It was terrible.
I haven't seen any of the shows. I haven't seen that Agatha. Oh, first of all, why would you want to make a show about Agatha? Like, it's a D level character in Fantastic Four,
Okay.
and you're gonna make a show about her. Like, I just don't get it. So yeah, I mean, I liked it, especially compared to the direct that's been coming out of Marvel since Endgame. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think they can turn that around. I think this Captain
Yeah.
America shows that, because I think they've had so many reshoots on it,
Mm.
and it just shows a lack of leadership or vision on their side,
Right.
because they don't seem to know what they want at this point, and they're just kind of throwing everything up against the wall and seeing what sticks, I guess. But I'm telling you, man, if you're spending 300 million on a movie, you better have like a good idea what you want or have a strong script before you start making it. But it seems like that's not the case here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't. Hopefully, some. I don't know. I don't think you could turn it around, but I think there was a good. It was a good run they had. I think.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. I
Yeah,
would say
it was
so.
a pretty good run. And
Yeah, I was saying I do agree with you on the end game. It kind of, after end game,
yeah,
it kind of just went downhill. You know.
yeah. I think that's where they really started caving into ideologies and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
uh, you know, um, you're not really making movies. It's a business, right? So when I create these books, I know what my audience wants, and you're gonna try your best. Like you're gonna put your own kind of um, you're gonna create a story, but they'll be happy after they read it. And I think that's what we do with our books. But you have to understand your audience. I don't think Disney understands their audience, and
Yeah.
if you did, you wouldn't be making shit like this because they're not interested. Like we're not interested in seeing any of the stuff you're making. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Right. Always George Page. Keep
Yeah,
your
I agree with
political
it.
beliefs at home.
Yep.
And then he also says, no one wants to look at a flat behind. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the physiques that you do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, for you, like, what's your reference of drawing? Like, when it comes to like drawing a female, is it models or bodybuilders or anything like that?
No, I think you got to look at the character first, right?
Yeah,
When I said Ghost Hawk Falconet, they're like Olympic level athletes. So then you look at athletes who are either running, or if you look at their physiques, they're going to be a certain way. If you got a person who is just like in the cards also, I'll put like what kind of physiques they have. Sometimes you just want a bigger person, like Dozer Blade is just big, and
mm,
that's somebody who has a very muscular build. And with the women, I like them curvy. Uh, I would say again, like Olympic athletes is something you look at mostly, and because they do so much like strenuous like exercising,
right.
whether they're fighting or doing all these type of things, that they're going to have a certain type of physique. They're not going to be fat, so it's just not possible with what they do. So yeah, we're looking at really like top of the line physiques on both men and women when we're making these characters.
Yeah, I had like a suggestion, like, well, like for Arachna, maybe you could put like a female bodybuilder, but like somebody like in the bikini division or figure division. I
Mhm.
don't know if you're in tune with the bodybuilding,
Well, the
like
bodybuilding, there's a
sport.
couple of different bodybuilding. There's uh, like the heavyweight type bodybuilders, and then there's like the God, I
Yeah,
forgot in a while, but there used to be bodybuilders that were more kind of lean
yeah,
and
yeah.
less muscular. So there was a term from them. I can't seem to remember what it was. Uh, but you remember like what's her name, Corey?
Everson, yeah,
Yeah, Corey
Corey
Everson.
Everson, yeah,
Like that, I would consider like a bodybuilder back when she was in
yeah,
her prime.
yeah,
But then there was another gal who was, remember Jean Claude Van Damme's first wife? I think he's still married to her now. She was more leaner, but
mm,
I think there were different divisions on there. But
yeah,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah. They also have like natural bodybuilding too,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
So this is Bombshell. She's based kind
yeah,
of on Marilyn Monroe.
yeah. Yeah, she looked nice. She looked like a nice character. So you
Yeah.
you said that you kind of she's more of inspired through Wonder Woman and Shazam. That's a combination. Wow.
Yeah, so it's they're two different people. So she's as Bombshell, she's like one persona,
Yeah.
and then switches into a different persona, uh, which we're keeping a secret who that is. But it's two different people. She
Mm.
says a magic word and she turns into Bombshell.
Oh,
Vice
wow.
versa.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, probably need to go to like a comic convention, see how that turns out. But I know it's not easy because you gotta kind of be a bit prepared, and because I went to a comic book convention. I went through it through a friend and stuff, and yeah, it's a lot of people too. They'll showcase the artwork, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd want at least one of the artists to be there. I think Carlos would be there. Definitely in New York. I'd want some models to be there dressed up as these characters. Um,
right,
and I get the suits done overseas, so the costumes and stuff are done. But it'd be cool to see like a Falconet there, or it'd be cool to see Arachna there. Um, and I think if you're gonna do it right. Like, just don't show up alone with nothing but a black table and a couple of books. You want to make sure that you got a lot of different things that are gonna attract people to your table. So this is I was like Keith Giffen's Justice League, so this is a homage to that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they kind of remind me of like the Justice League International, especially like in this scene for some
Yeah,
reason. Yeah,
yeah, and Val does a really good job on impression. So it kind of remind. If you remember Justice League, Kevin McGuire did a lot of good job in like people's faces. They'd have like these
right.
like looks on their faces, which are very interesting, and I think Val channels that pretty well. So yeah, I think this is going to be this is a fun book. We're about three-quarters done with it, and it's a very fun book. The person in the front, he's that's called Declan Russell. He's kind of based off of Kurt Russell in A Snake Plissken
Mm,
in Escape from New York, and he's kind of like that character. And
mm.
yeah, it's just it's like a mishmash of stuff that again I grew up with, and then you're gonna take that, put it in a blender with all your own ideas, and then kind of throw it out, and that's what you get with some of this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna stay tuned with this. Where could anybody like so they would have to go to Kickstarter to get these issues?
Kickstarter, you can get Ghost Hawk Falconet Volume 2, and then
Okay,
also the Armada. You can get that on Kickstarter. But you can just go to the website, which is X53 Studios, and it'll have all the relevant links in there. So you can pick up on older issues of Arachna 1, 2, and then you can also pick up Ghost Hawk Falconet, Vindicators. So a lot of different things you can pick up on our website.
yeah, I could stay. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check it out. Yeah, what you got in store for 2025 with just the Arachna comic?
So 2025 Arachna 4 with
Okay.
her new costume. Then we got right after that we got Vindicators 2. Then we have Omada 3, and then we'll finish it off with Ghost Hawk and Falconet number 3. So
Yeah.
uh, we're gonna release them quarterly. So March will be Arachna 4, June will be Vindicators 2, Omada will be in August, and then we'll finish it up in November with Ghost Hawk Falconet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk with you. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on. And I know you mentioned that you thought I was the artist on these books, but I
Yeah.
will show you. I was an artist. I used to be an
Okay.
illustrator. So I'll show you one of my works.
All
So
right.
let's see if you can see this. Let's see. So this is a Catwoman oil painting I did. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see.
wow. Yeah, I see it. Wow, you did that?
Yeah. So this is oils.
Did you work for did you work for like DC Comics or
No, I never worked for Marvel, DC. Part of the reason was that
oh,
I had a family very young, so I got married very young,
yeah.
and I was doing
Wow.
romance novels. So I worked for Avon Books. They were paying a lot at that time. So I did Avon Books, I did Penguin Books, I did Harlequin, and all these book publishers. So that's what I used to do. But I never worked for Marvel, DC.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend that he works for them. Yeah, like an old classmate of mine. He been doing it for like over 20 years
Yeah.
now. Yeah. So he did like the issue the Batgirl with Cassandra Cain.
Mm-hmm.
The ninja. Yeah, he did like he did the work of her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this. Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, and yeah, check out X53 Studios.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put your information in the description.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
All right.
So yeah, thank you.
Anytime.
All right, folks. That's a wrap. Thank you for coming and hit the like button and follow Asaf and what the Arachna Comics.
X53 Studios.
Yeah. All right.